Yo, what's up? Greetings, everybody. This is Mike, aka Mr. Legit Hustle. Y'all know me, your homie, your brother from another mother. First and foremost, thank you for checking me out, for being here rocking with me. Could have been anywhere else on the internet, on YouTube, but you're here watching my content, so I just want to thank you. I also want to ask you something. Do you have a dream or goal that you feel driven to pursue? Or maybe you're like me and you're already deep in the pursuit of your dream or whatever that goal is, and you like a little motivation and direction in overcoming the challenges that you face. You know, sometimes we doubt ourselves. Sometimes we get afraid of failing. Or maybe you just need some inspiration from time to time. Well, I want to encourage you to never allow yourself to fall victim to discouragement. When you choose to pursue a goal or a dream in your life, know that you're going to get met with opposition and challenges. It just comes with the territory. But there's too much at stake for you to quit. And if you're like me, then you've come too far and through too much to ever give up on that dream or that goal. So, I want to invite you to grab one or two or all of my legit motivation presentations. You can watch the videos on my Legit Motivation podcast on my YouTube channel. And if you see one that you like, you can download the actual slide presentation that I developed and used in that video. That way, you can review the information in depth at your own pace. Now, each slide presentation is packed with factual, reputable, and verifiable information from reliable sources, as well as the game I've learned in 46 years on this realm. So head over to my Legit Motivation podcast on YouTube or go to legithustle.com. Presentations are free, but if you'd like to support the channel, then you can donate there as well. Whether you do or don't, the presentations are yours to keep. Plus, you'll get a special bonus offer on all of my products and services when you download your first presentation. So head over to legithustle.com or look for the link in the comment section of the video that you like. Alright? Again, thank you for rocking with me. Enjoy the rest of the show. Peace. Yo, yeah.
Rest in peace, Nipple.
Yo, man, this one goes out to everybody out there getting it on it.
And every other soul.
However you getting paid, however you paying your bills, hopefully it's legit. You know what I'm saying? But even if it ain't, do the best you can, you know what I'm saying? And get it on your own. Yeah, West Coast, slow motion. Waking up the morning views of the ocean, freshen up your swag, roll up your neck back, 40 on your hip, dip to the west side. Between the trees and the breeze is where you reside. You let the 6-4 dip slow side to side. The good life, no longer stressing on that hood stripe. Your kids best, you can't flex, they doing all right. On top of that, today you rhyme with your lady. Yep, that's your baby, play with her, they must be crazy. Had the hood going crazy when them shop doors open. Fine cuts in the city, that's what you been promoting. Plus it's good to see that every real G is positively positive to the community. Productivity, that's the slogan. Pushing back on the forces, trying to stop us wrong. They can't hold it back. When the door of opportunity opens up for you like a Cadillac, you ain't having that, you came too far to try and travel back. And plus that's way too whack. So when the plans stay rolling and the dope keep floating while your life unfolding, then you keep going. Never mind the haters, can't make or break you. Where the hustle take you when your faith don't forsake you. Yeah, it feels good when you getting it on your own. Pushing fly wheels, putting families in fly home. But you gotta stay strong when you're walking on your own and turn BS a rare when life ends you stone. It feels good when you getting it on your own. Pushing fly wheels, putting families in fly home. But you gotta stay strong when you walking on your own and turn BS a rare when life ends you stone. But don't expect it to be easy breezy. Besides being cheesy, it's slightly greasy like an Eskimo trying to sell your bro that don't love the pole. His ass still ain't free. The truth is you take the good with the bad. If it's worth it, then on purpose it ain't easy to be had. But don't let it stop you, cause unless they pop you, then you gotta know the wind's already in the bag. It takes thick skin to walk amongst men that don't comprehend the grind that you're living in. Unfortunately, it usually proves to be negativity from friends and your family. But when you focus, you can't get caught slipping. You cool ranch while you living. Fly with eagle, not chickens, and you bound to see between you and me that there's no enemies. And yes, success is proof. Me, I'm still noodle flowing in the booth. If you need more proof, go and check me mirror, cause it couldn't be clearer that you're bound for the top. So stay on your grind and don't you dare ever stop and hit roadblocks. Act like mad cops, that only means you're just a mirror, homie, just watch. Ain't no need to be silent when you're made of iron. And for winners like you, there's no such thing as trying. It feels good when you're getting it on your own. Pushing fly whips, putting families in fly home. But you gotta stay strong when you're walking on your own and turn BS to bread with like getting through stones. It feels good when you're getting it on your own. Pushing fly whips, putting families in fly home. But you gotta stay strong when you're walking on your own and turn BS to bread with like getting through stones. And there you have it. You know what I'm saying? This goes out to everybody out there getting it on their own. Like I said, you over there, feel me, with the fade, all the barbershops, hair salons, nail salons, massage parlors, dentist office, soul food restaurants, whatever you do, man. You work for yourself, it's your anthem right here, man. It's my salute to you. I see you get it on your own. And if you can employ other people, you're a real life hero. You know what I'm saying? Salute. Yeah. Keep getting it on your own.
Truth be told, every champion has felt it. Every president has felt it. Every king has felt it. Every lion has felt it. Every winner has felt it. Every soldier has felt it. Every victorious person has felt it. The urge to quit. Don't you give up on your dream. I don't care if you don't have the money, you don't have the help, and you don't have the family for it, and you don't have the background for it, and you don't have the friends for it. Don't you give up on your dream. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. Don't you do it.
In a world full of hunger, growing up on stomach pains, trying to make it over puddles and avoid the dirty stains of the streets where the rain drinks more than just your pain, and everything you have to lose is everything you have to gain. It's a battle for your mind, for your soul, for your time. Either stay down in the mud or jump back up, get on the grind, trying to catch up in a race when you started from behind. So removed from the lead that you can't even see the line. And the ones who say they love you, the same ones who hold their hand from extending you the kindness that you needed to withstand. The same ones walking blindly with contempt for fellow man. They don't lose a wink of sleep even when they leave you stranded. Fuck them all, just in tall, never mind if you fall. Every hustler takes a L, without those you can't ball. It's a dirty, dirty dance, roll the dice, take that chance. Gotta tighten up your pants to stay a victim of circumstance. Opportunity comes at a glance, get you stepping like a band. After school, rap and dance, it don't matter, get your band to the sky up if it takes that to help you feel fly. Who am I to tell you not to when I'd rather see you try? It's a blackout to America, so I'm forced to make these choices. Ramen noodles or the bills while others riding in Rolls Royce. And then claim to be their leaders, whole time ignore their voices. Time to pay us what you owe us, they are just your first invoice. I suggest you pay up quickly, we are not that good at waiting. We have been too fucking patient, US government is Satan. And the victory was ours, you can quit the time wasting and the stalling, cause it's time Babylon should get to falling. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I think by now we all know who the enemy is, right? And we all know who the enemy is, right? You know what I'm saying? Alright, so it's not a person working next to your job. Probably ain't the person that lives down the street from you. Not to say it ain't some weirdos in all these places that need to get addressed, need to get dealt with. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. We got a unique situation with my kid, when your kid, when they look back at our generation, what they gonna see? What they gonna see? A whole bunch of coulda, woulda, shoulda ass motherfuckers? Or they gonna look back and say, hey, I'm on my daddy's part of that generation. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I come from that. One more thing I forgot to mention, if you listen, I hope you listening. We cannot ignore our kitchen, cause it's full of dirty dishes. We need mothers to be mothers, so our children can be children. We need fathers to be fathers, lead them right and give them wisdom, so our dreams can be reality, not just a bunch of wishes. Whether Muslim, Jew, or Christian, don't just talk it, you should live it. So I'm asking you, what would you do if on you this depended? For unilaterally, not just a bunch of wishes. Figuring it's all.
Testing, testing, testing. There we go. All right. My apologies, everybody. Have not been live in a couple months. Still new to this. So I have to come in here and play around with my settings a little bit. I apologize for the hiccup, but moving forward, welcome to Legit Motivation. It is I, your brother from another mother, Mike, Mr. Legit Hustle himself. I recently relocated, and so, as I said, I haven't gone live probably in about 2 months or so. So I'm just now getting situated. It's my first time going live at the new location, and it looks like I'm getting a lot of buffering on my end. So if it's buffering, y'all let me know in the comments or whatever. But I'm going to proceed like everything moving smoothly, all right? So let's get into it. Today we're going to be talking about fear and why, as a hustler, an entrepreneur, someone who works for themselves, or just a person in life in general, why we need to be fearless when it comes to the things that we do. And this subject is not necessarily as simple and as straightforward as it may seem. So we're going to get into not only some of the root causes of fear, but we're going to talk about two very specific types of fear. Okay? So before we get started, though, however, I do actually, again, want first and foremost give a shout out to my sponsor, Mrs. Yvette Nelson over at New Freedom Financial in Albany, Georgia. Shout out and salute to them. But I'm going to start this presentation off with a story. I'm going to tell a personal story about me having to confront certain fears on my own. The year is about 2004. This is when I first got into financial services. I was living in Memphis, Tennessee, and I was selling life insurance for an agency in Memphis, Tennessee. And I was doing pretty good for myself financially. I was probably like 24, I think, somewhere around there. But I was doing pretty good for myself financially. And I thought I was doing well overall. And there was a guy who was a manager at the agency who, not only was he my manager, he was kind of like a mentor to me in the industry. His name was Timothy McCleskey. Shout out to Tim McCleskey and his wife, Paris, and their beautiful family, wherever y'all may be. I never forgot some of those lessons, so I appreciate you for the things that you taught me. Tim and another coworker of mine named Angel pulled me aside one day, and they told me that they saw how well I was doing, that I was a good salesman, that I was very capable, and they saw it. And then Tim told me it was one problem that I had that he noticed. And he told me that I was afraid to be rich. And it took me by surprise because being young, thinking I'm doing good, and I was making good money. You know, I was making $2,000 every week, sometimes more, sometimes maybe a little less, but on average, 1,000 or two a week. And I thought I was doing good, you know, and I never thought about being afraid of being rich. Like, it kind of took me aback a little bit, because how does someone be afraid of being rich? I'd never heard that before. And I didn't really understand it. And he explained something to me. He said, you're afraid that if you were rich, it would change you. That you would be somebody that you don't want to be. You're not arrogant. You're not mean to people. You're not rude. You're a respectful guy. You're not greedy. And you think, or you tell yourself in your mind, even if you don't realize it, that if I was rich, I would be like those people that I didn't want to be like. And I knew he was telling the truth when he explained it to me. Because even though I had never had that conversation with anyone, or even conceptualized that I could be afraid of being rich, I knew he was telling the truth, because that's exactly how I felt inside. I saw people that had money and had acquired a lot of things materially, and for the most part, I didn't like what I saw when I was around those kind of people. I didn't necessarily like the character of people that I saw that had those things. And I didn't want to be one of those type of people. So he was right. I was afraid of being rich, and I didn't even know it. Now, 100% disclaimer, I still ain't rich. So I'm not sitting here telling you that I got rich after that. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I may ever necessarily be rich. That's not even really my objective. I ain't going to turn it down if it comes the right way. But it's not necessarily my objective to be rich. But I was, in fact, afraid of being rich. And, oh, shout out to my brother Smashing Idol in the building. Shalom, brethren. What's going on? Good. So, yeah, I was afraid of being rich. And that was a fear that I had to confront in order for me to continue moving forward as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as an agent in financial services. I had a goal of becoming a stockbroker at one point, and I was working toward that. But I had to accept that I was, in fact, afraid of being rich. So, believe it or not, all fears aren't based on what you may think fear is based on. So today, in this presentation, we're going to talk about two very specific type of fears. And these fears run much deeper than you think. You know, a lot of people, when you're talking about fear, they assume that this is a very straightforward topic. Like, either you're a coward, either you're brave, or you're not, right? And we tend to assume that fear makes a person a coward. But that's not true. The reality is, fears, phobias, they operate on multiple levels. It's a lot more psychological. Some of it is conscious, some of it we are not conscious of. Like, my mentor pointed out to me that I was afraid to be rich. I wasn't consciously aware of that, but it was definitely true. I knew it was true when he told me about it. Right? So fears are not necessarily something that you're consciously even aware of. So it's good whenever you can to give yourself that self-analysis and identify those fears. But if it takes someone that you trust to point them out to you, then we should definitely pay attention. Because fears can either propel you forward or hold you back. Not just in business, just in life in general. All right, so we're talking about why we need to be fearless. So we're going to talk about two specific fears, as I said. One, the fear of failure. and the little known fear of success. Like, I didn't know there was a such thing as being afraid of being rich. Did you know that it's possible to be afraid of success? And some of you all that watch this video may actually be being hindered by fear of success. But would you know how to identify it? Would you know what to do about a fear like fear of success? So that's what we're going to get into today. Now, if you're not familiar with me, I love putting together nice presentations like this. If you like the presentation, the slideshow that I'm using, if you want to get it for yourself and download it and take a personal look at it, review it in depth or whatever, head over to LGH&x, and this presentation will be available for you to download within the next day or so. And you can go through this slideshow. I don't necessarily go through the presentation word for word or just read the sections. I like for my lives to feel more like a discussion where we're just discussing these topics. I'm not necessarily reading it to you. Okay? But one thing I want to point out about the fear of failure. Fear of failure is obvious. It's very obvious. But it stops you from getting started. And it shows its face in multiple ways. The fear of success, however, is much more hidden. And the fear of success may not stop you from getting started, but it'll stop you from continuing. So when you reach obstacles and challenges and things don't go exactly like you hoped or you was planning or you thought they would go, the fear of success being so hidden deep in a lot of people's psyche, in their subconscious mind, they never realize that they're not continuing forward because they fear the success that could come with it. Right? So we're going to talk about these two faces of fear. I hope y'all enjoy some of the images in here. Heads up, I got some new content that I'm working on. I'm working on a AI generated and based little animated kind of series, you know what I'm saying, featuring the characters that I use on my channel, like Hustler behind me. The guy on this slide is actually one of the characters that I'll be using in the upcoming animation. So I'm going to be adding some new content. So I put some of the new characters and things that I'm going to be using in the upcoming content I'm working on in this slideshow. So I hope y'all enjoy the graphics too. All right, so let's keep it pushing. Now, fear of failure. I said it was obvious. So let's look at what makes it obvious, exactly what it is, right? The core emotion behind a fear of failure is usually shame, rejection, or a loss of self-worth, right? When you let it be known to the world that you're gonna start a business, you're gonna become a rapper, a singer, a baseball player, a doctor, a lawyer, when you start letting people know or saying that you're gonna do certain things, there's a natural reaction for us as human beings to not fail, to not embarrass ourselves. Because I done told all these people I was going to do this. I've been on social media saying, man, I got an album coming, or I'm about to get signed to this. I'm about to sign to this school, this team, this whatever your goal is, whatever that object is, right? None of us want to be ashamed because the world or our circle witnesses us not accomplish it. Right? So that's at the core of fearing failure, shame, rejection, or even the way we look at ourselves because we maybe don't accomplish something when we say it or when we want it to or how we want it to. Right? So that's what's at the core. Now, the thing about this is it's based on our ego. And ego isn't necessarily bad or negative, but it is something that we have to definitely keep in check. Right? So when you're talking about a fear of failure, it's your ego's protective mechanism. It's your ego, your mind, your subconscious trying to avoid exposing you, to prevent you from experiencing the pain or shame or loss of self-worth that you're trying to avoid. The symptoms of a fear of failure Look at this: procrastination, perfectionism, endless planning, and strategic avoidance. Now, personally, like y'all know, if you ever watch my content, I keep it all the way 100. I'm transparent about myself, not just my strengths, but also my weaknesses. I have to work very hard to avoid falling into that trap. I can be a perfectionist, right? I don't tend to see myself as a procrastinator. I'm definitely a take action type of person, but I have to be on the guard of trying to make things so perfect and be just this certain way that I don't look up one day and I haven't made any progress on it. So personally, I look out for these symptoms in myself now, so that when I see myself taking too long trying to make something too perfect, that I can give myself a quick little check. Hey man, are you really trying to make this just right, or are you procrastinating? Right? So if you a hustler, business owner, self-employed person, mommy, daddy, whoever, you have to give yourself those kind of checkups. And that requires that you pay attention to yourself. Right? So what's the outcome? You get perpetually stuck at the starting line. You started off telling people you were going to do these things, and maybe you even made some efforts and got started doing some things, but you don't never really get past that point. And that dream or that goal or that objective becomes something that you were going to do. Well, I was gonna do this, or I was gonna be that. Did you not complete that objective? Did you not achieve that goal, possibly because of these things? Would you have been aware of it if you were falling victim to that? Now, these type of things, as we said, are very obvious, right? The fear of failure. But, oh, my bad. I thought we was going to move on to the definition of fear of success. My apologies. So let's talk about the psychology of fear of failure. Stay on that for a minute. Immediate pain avoidance. You've probably heard it said that self-preservation is the first law of nature. You may have also heard it said that, I know there are certain words on YouTube that we get flagged for saying, I don't really want to fall into that category. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'm gonna be smart. I gotta do the content creation thing. A person who self-deletes themselves has to be clinically, definably insane, because it goes against your nature, your psychological well-being to to harm yourself to the point of death. So in order for a person to do that, they have to technically be out of their sanity. You understand? So it's not natural for us to want to experience pain. It's not natural for us to want to be shamed or feel failure. So as an effort to protect us, our mind will sometimes sabotage our efforts in an attempt to protect us from failure, from shame, from embarrassment, from psychological harm, right? Self-preservation. But the problem is if you allow your mind to be so consumed with protecting you that it causes you to procrastinate. If you allow your mind to cause you to fear failure so much that you never get started, or you never take step 2, you're just at step 1, then you have lost your balance, right? It's a natural, healthy thing for our psyche to protect us from pain. That's what it's supposed to do. But not to the point that it cripples you and your ability to achieve things in your life. At that point, we have to stop and look at ourselves and say, well, why am I so afraid of this thing? Why is this thing making me so afraid that I ain't doing it. Even though I said I was going to do it. Even though I really, really want to do it. Is it fear of failure? Can you recognize fear of failure? Now we're going to talk about the fear of success. Now the fear of success, on the other hand, is much less obvious. A lot of people don't even know there's a such thing as fear of success, like I said earlier. This is the one that fewer people recognize, but it's possibly even more damaging to us than fear of failure, because it won't stop you from starting, but it will stop you from continuing. So maybe you did take step 1, and you might have even took step 2. But the fear of success is the reason you didn't take 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or however far you had to go to get where you was going. Appreciate you, Smash. Oh, let me read the comments for a second. The more you go up in your career, most definitely. And in an environment like that, where you're in like a corporate setting, right? The fear of success can sometimes, and I hope I'm not getting too far ahead in the presentation because we're going to talk about those types of things, but you don't want conflict with your coworkers. You don't want to be disliked by your coworkers. You don't want them to feel jealous of you because you earned something that they didn't. And that's how fear of success can rear its head in situations even like that. And that's a natural thing. You want to get along with your coworkers, right? But if we're not careful, that desire to get along with everybody, or not be disliked, or not have people be jealous of you, none of which you can control how somebody else is going to feel or react to you anyway. But we can mess around and let that fear cause us not to get that opportunity, not to take advantage of that opportunity, not to proceed forward. So it definitely will show its face in many different circumstances. The key to it is, first you got to be able to recognize it. All right. So the question here, what if I can't keep up? What if I can't keep up? What if people expect more from me than I can deliver? Real story. When I first started developing apps and software and things like that, I really had to deal with that. I know what I've done for myself. I know what I've done behind the scenes in this area. But what if this person want me to do something I didn't promote it myself as being able to deliver something, and then all of a sudden I can't do it? I don't know. Let me stay right here where I'm comfortable at, because I know I can do this. I know I'm good at this, but I don't know. You don't even know if that situation's even going to be a reality. That person might not actually do nothing you can't do. But you can fear moving forward or being put in a situation that you can't deliver. And that's how fear of success works. Very dangerous fear, especially because it's hard to recognize. So the core emotion behind the fear of success is anxiety about change, visibility, increased responsibility, and loss of control. I emphasize loss of control. Do you know how many ways, or can you think of different ways that people sabotage themselves by trying to be in control? I'll give you a perfect example. In a relationship between a man and a woman, you ever met someone or been involved with someone that, had very deep trust issues? One of the things about a person with trust issues is they usually seek to control the environment because they're afraid of being hurt. They don't want to be taken advantage of again. They don't want to be betrayed. So they seek to control everything around them. That includes the person or people that come into their life. It's a fear response to control everything. The fear of success often lies right there in that same place, trying to maintain control. Because guess what? If you get that new promotion, if you actually open up that business, you're stepping into an unknown. You're stepping into something new. And you can't control it. And that causes fear. Very subtle fear. One that you may not even recognize as fear. The root cause of it is a subconscious belief that success will disrupt your identity, belonging, or comfort zone. In a previous live, we talked about how being comfortable prevents you from growing. Growth is uncomfortable. Growth requires you to step into something new, a new role, a new position, a new place in life, and that's not usually comfortable. You can't control it. You don't know anything about this new thing you stepped into. Right? Excuse me. Going back to the story I told at the beginning about my mentor Tim pointing out to me that I was afraid to be rich. And I realized that that was true because I was afraid that having money or being what people call quote unquote rich would change who I was as a person. I was afraid that I would act like the people that I saw, that I would treat other people the way I saw people with money treat other people, which I ain't want to be like that. I'm not that kind of dude. I'm a laid back, super chill ass dude. I don't mistreat people. I don't look down on people. I ain't want to be one of those people. But that was my identity of myself, that I thought that if I had what those people had, then I'd probably be like them, right? Let's move on to the symptoms. Self-sabotage. The fear of success literally causes you to sabotage yourself and not even realize it. You'll tell yourself you're protecting yourself. Sometimes your family members and friends will have a fear of success and they'll sabotage you. All in the thought that they're protecting you from something. The fear of success is very subtle but very dangerous. And there's a lot of people who suffer from that and don't realize it like I didn't. And because of that, if you can't recognize it or acknowledge it, what chance do you have of combating it, fighting against it, or overcoming it? So the outcome that people who give in or succumb to a fear of success is that they get stuck. They might have a lot of momentum. You know, I was talking about a rapper, for example, because anybody know me know I love music. I'm an amateur ass rapper. You know, I be making little tracks and stuff that I use on my video or whatever. I love music. But let's say you're a rapper. That's really what you're trying to do. And maybe you really built up a buzz. Maybe you really got people who are looking forward to that. You dropped that little first track on social media. It got some traction, especially around your local area. You got that momentum going. And then all of a sudden, you don't maintain it. And you may tell yourself, oh, it was because this happened. Or it was because that happened. And not to say that there are not circumstances beyond our control that can sabotage what we're doing sometimes. But before we conclude that it's something that's beyond our control that led to it, sometimes we need to stop and ask ourselves, or did I sabotage myself? And why? And it may be that you were afraid of being successful. I don't like attention. I do not like attention. I don't like being the center of attention. I don't like being looked at. I don't like being known like that. I did not want to start live streaming because, believe it or not, I was a little bit apprehensive about my channel becoming successful and whether that meant I'd be able to move about comfortably through my life. I don't want people I don't know walking up on me that think they know me or know me in a certain type of way. I ain't really comfortable with that. I would hate to be in a situation where I said or did the wrong thing because somebody who actually liked legit hustle and saw me on YouTube ran up on me when I was somewhere not thinking about being legit hustle on YouTube. I'm just being Mike. And I take it the wrong way. Right? That was a concern of mine that I had before I started live streaming. The difference, though, is that I had to realize that what I was fighting for, not just myself, more importantly, my children's future. I'm trying to build something and establish something for them, far more than I hope to benefit from anything that I'm doing, right? And they mean too much to me for me to not follow through with it. So I just got to learn to adapt. Maybe you got to not be so on edge, Mike. Maybe you're going to have to change how you move through life. But don't let that fear stop you from moving forward, because your babies is depending on you to follow through. You told them you was going to do certain things. They watching. Whether I ever get rich or not, as long as I can show my children that you can be the person you want to be, I might not be rich. If I make enough money on my own to just take care of myself and my family, I'm more than happy. I don't have to answer to nobody. I don't have to work for nobody. Right? That's successful to me. It don't matter about my bank account size. I'm showing my children that you don't have to be anybody other than yourself. And you can be yourself and still achieve the things you want to in life. You don't have to sacrifice who you are for that. If I accomplish that, regardless of how much money I do or don't have, I'm successful. So for me, the purpose and the reason that I'm actually doing all of this outweighs my fear of what could happen. Because I don't like attention. I don't want people running up on me, confusing me with legit hustle on YouTube. Nah, that's the channel. I'm Mike. You know, and you see a little bit of Mike on YouTube, but I'm Mike. So don't confuse legit hustle with me. I feared that. But I can't let it stop me. I'm just going to have to adapt. Right? But if I didn't, then I'd be letting the fear of success win again. And I ain't going to do that. Not me. Not this time. Right? So I hope everybody can get a little something from this, because, again, I don't necessarily come on here and try to portray myself as a guru or a know-it-all or somebody who can tell you I know how to make you be rich, or I can do that. I don't really operate that way, you know. Hold on one second, y'all. So, my 1 second. Bring that up to speed. Okay. So for some reason, my YouTube playback is freezing, and it's causing me to freeze on my end. I don't really know enough about this stream and stuff to know exactly what's going on. I'm gonna work it out though. But anywho, yeah, my hope is that even though I'm not here to try to present myself to a guru to any of you guys, or, you know, try to convince you that I got all the answers about something, I'm not saying that. I try to give you the things, the information that I learned from in research, and combine it with my real life experiences. And even if that means being transparent and admitting failures or weaknesses about myself, my objective is to help you look at yourself and give yourself that same self-analysis, because that is what's going to prevent you from falling victim to those weaknesses and fears. So that's what I do this for. That's what I hope I can share with all of you all. So again, if you don't know, if you want any of these presentations that you see me doing on Legit Motivation, you can go to legithustle.com and actually download the slideshow presentations that I use in these. All right. Of course, without my picture and stuff all in the way. You just get the whole slideshow, any links that's in there, any references or research information that I remember to include in them. Sometimes I forget to include the references, right? So I'm going to start making sure I include references to where I get this information. So if you want to dig deeper on these topics, you can. I'm not here to act like I know it all. I'm just here to maybe point you in a direction. Say, hey, you ever considered this? You know, like I have to do myself sometimes. So I hope everybody feeling it. I hope y'all rocking with me. So why is the fear of success so much more dangerous? Because it operates beneath your conscious awareness, right? Making it far more insidious than the fear of failure. What does that mean? Let's use an analogy. If you were swimming at the beach and the ocean, and let's say you are in some deep water, and somebody say, shark, and you realize it's a shark swimming around you. If you know anything about sharks, do you think you're going to be more or less afraid of the shark as long as you can see it? Because if you can see the shark, it's not attacking you. And if you can see the shark, you got a little bit of a chance, hopefully, of fighting back if it does decide to. But if somebody yells shark and you're in the water and you go to looking and you can't see a shark, especially certain species of sharks that hunt by ambush, that's probably far more terrifying than the shark you can see, right? Because you don't know where it's going to come from. If it does this, how do I protect myself? I don't even know where it's at. That's the fear of success. Because it's not consciously obvious to us. It's very hard to spot. It's like the shark in the water with you that you don't see. That's the one that gets you. All right? Like most predators. If you're in the African bush, the lion that you don't see is probably the one that gets you. If you get got by a lion. Right? So when it comes to these fears, the one that isn't immediately obvious to you, the one that isn't so apparent that it's causing you to not achieve things in your life, is far more dangerous than the obvious one. And that's what makes the fear of success so dangerous to all of us, no matter what you're doing in your life. If you're just seeking to be a good parent, if you're afraid of being a good parent, how well can you become a good parent? How successful are you going to be at that? Imagine how many people may be suffering from the fear of being successful at something and never even realize it, that they're sabotaging themselves. All right, you can't overcome something, you can't address it if you don't identify it, if you don't know it's there. And because it can intensify as you grow, the consequences get bigger and they can continue. These fears are not things that, oh, I used to be afraid of success, I'm not no more. No, you have to constantly watch out for them. Because as you achieve more and more goals in your life, whatever they may be, the new obstacles that present themselves, the new opportunities that's going to present themselves with that growth, they're all also going to present opportunities for these fears to sabotage you. This isn't something that you get to the end of and it's over with like a race. No, this is something that once you learn about these things and how they can impact your life, it's like being a recovering addict. Most people who are recovering from addictions and substance abuse, if they're going to be successful at it, most of them will never allow themselves to see themselves as having conquered the addiction or the problem, because they know how easily it can creep back in on them if they allow themselves to get comfortable thinking they defeated something that, it tends to leave and just come back another way. Proverbs 29:25, the fear of man bring a snare, but whoever so putteth his trust in the Lord shall be safe. Most definitely. Hallelujah. Hallelujah to that. All thanks and praises to the Most High. Scriptures also tell us that our Creator did not give us a spirit of fear. So for those of us who claim to be of a certain lineage, we should be supremely interested in not being fearful, because we're actually commanded by our Father, by our Creator, to not be fearful. But what if you don't know you suffering from that fear? So that's why I do things like this. Hey Smash, I appreciate it, bro. I appreciate the comments. I appreciate the support. I appreciate you pulling up. I don't care if don't but 3 people hear this. If you one of the 3, thank you. Because you're making it possible for me to not only live my dreams, but to not fall victim to fear. Like I said, I have my own fears about doing this type of stuff. All right? So I appreciate the support, bro. All right, so now let's look at identifying these fears and what we do about them. So, starting line. The fear of failure dominates. So usually the first thing you're going to deal with is the fear of failure. Because remember, the fear of failure is what will stop you from starting. Right? So in addressing these 2 concerns, it's not necessarily, I appreciate it, bro. It's not necessarily one or the other. No, be on the lookout for both of them. One that's kind of obvious to see and one that's far less obvious to see. And so the starting point is fear of failure. Now that fear's job is to protect you from pain, from rejection, from shame, from embarrassment. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That's appropriate. But it shouldn't cripple you. It shouldn't prevent you from getting started. Then it's out of balance, right? Building momentum. Because you've started something, don't mean you overcame fear. Because now that you've started, you have to continue. And this is where the fear of success comes in, right? So a little comment at the bottom says, understanding which stage you're in helps you identify which fear is currently sabotaging your progress. Both require different strategies to overcome them. If you're familiar with any type of 10-step program or recovery type of thing, right? What's the very first thing you have to do before you can overcome something like substance abuse? You have to admit it's a problem. Can you admit it's a problem if you haven't identified a problem or identify it as a problem? If you don't realize that smoking crack is a problem, you ever going to address it like a problem? No, you're going to keep smoking crack because it's not a problem. So if you don't want to be a crackhead, the first thing you have to do is admit that you got a problem with crack. You're a crackhead. And not to be mean or not to be insensitive, but you got to do that. If you're going to overcome something, you got to admit it first. You got to identify it first. And the same thing comes with those fears that we face in life. We're talking about fear of success and fear of failure, but it's not limited to those 2 fears. If you're afraid of the dark, you can't stop being afraid of the dark till you admit you're afraid of the dark and address it like a problem, right? So the first thing you got to do is identify these things. So that's what we're doing. Hopefully I'm helping you learn how to spot these things in your life, if they are in fact actually doing that to you. I really don't know what's going on with YouTube, y'all. I don't know why this thing keeps stopping and doing what it's doing, but we're going to get it figured out. So let's look at a real world example. Let's say you're a barber or a hairstylist, but you avoid launching a business or a marketing campaign. It looks like you may be procrastinating or might not have the resources or the money. But if you dig deeper, a lot of times in those kind of situations, you'll find something different. What if that person didn't start the marketing campaign or they didn't launch the business? Not because they're afraid the business won't work or the campaign won't work. That would be fear of failure. What if they're actually afraid of what happens if it does work? What if I do go platinum? What if I do sell 1 million copies? What if I do build my channel up to having 1 million followers? Getting 1 million views on videos. What do that look like? It's legit hustle, bro. I ain't even got 100 subscribers yet. I can't fathom what it must be like to have a channel with 1 million subscribers. Right? So just the thought of that gives me a little bit of apprehension. That's so new. That's so different. I've never done that before in my life. So What comes with that? What if you don't launch it, you don't start it because you're afraid of the success? New clients, working longer hours, having higher expectations set for you, right? All of those things is the fear of success starting to rear its head in your life, right? So all of us have to face these types of things. Not just barbers and hairstylists, not just self-employed people, parents, children, students. You always have to face these types of things throughout life. That's why you have to always be on guard against them, because they're ever present in life. They're literally a part of your growth, right? Why? Why are they a part of your growth? If you go to the gym and you want to get stronger, you can't keep lifting 50 pounds for the next umpteen years. You're not going to get stronger. The resistance that you call weight and your ability to push it off of you or away from you or move it or do whatever exercise you're doing with it, the resistance is what makes you stronger. Right? So as you grow and develop in life, these types of things, yes, they can ruin your success. Or they can be the things that make you stronger. They can be the resistance that you need to overcome. And then you find out, dang, I am capable. I could do that the whole time. What else can I do? And then you're going to move on to something else, but you're going to have to confront those same types of things again that only you can assess yourself and say, hey, I notice I tend to procrastinate. I think I might be dealing with a fear of failure, or a fear of success, or a fear of anything, right? So they're there. What I'm about to do is I'm going to start doing my presentations to flow a little different. As you notice, this one is earlier in the day, so I'm adjusting my schedule. One of the things I'm really trying to do is start getting these presentations in the hands of people. So I'm going to take a short little break for a couple minutes. I'm going to hit this cigarette and sip this coffee right quick. And then we're going to be right back. All right? Y'all give me a second. Yo, what's up? Greetings, everybody. This is Mike, aka Mr. Legit Hustle. Y'all know me, your homie, your brother from another mother. First and foremost, thank you for checking me out, for being here rocking with me. Could have been anywhere else on the internet, on YouTube, but you're here watching my content, so I just want to thank you. I also want to ask you something. Do you have a dream or goal that you feel driven to pursue? Or maybe you're like me and you're already deep in the pursuit of your dream or whatever that goal is, and you like a little motivation and direction in overcoming the challenges that you face. You know, sometimes we doubt ourselves. Sometimes we get afraid of failing. Or maybe you just need some inspiration from time to time. Well, I want to encourage you to never allow yourself to fall victim to discouragement. When you choose to pursue a goal or a dream in your life, know that you're going to get met with opposition and challenges. It just comes with the territory. But there's too much at stake for you to quit. And if you're like me, then you've come too far and through too much to ever give up on that dream or that goal. So, I want to invite you to grab one or two or all of my legit motivation presentations. You can watch the videos on my Legit Motivation podcast on my YouTube channel. And if you see one that you like, you can download the actual slide presentation that I developed and used in that video. That way, you can review the information in depth at your own pace. Now, each slide presentation is packed with factual, reputable, and verifiable information from reliable sources, as well as the game I've learned in 46 years on this realm. So head over to my Legit Motivation podcast on YouTube or go to legithustle.com. Presentations are free, but if you'd like to support the channel, then you can donate there as well. Whether you do or don't, the presentations are yours to keep. Plus, you'll get a special bonus offer on all of my products and services when you download your first presentation. So head over to legithustle.com or look for the link in the comment section of the video that you like. Alright, again, thank you for rocking with me. Enjoy the rest of the show. Peace. Alright, we back. I had my little coffee break. Hit my little cancer stick. Alright, so let's keep it pushing. Hey, Smash, I appreciate that, man. So listen, I'm very much the same way. I don't be trying to outshine people. I don't like making people feel less than. I've never been the type of person that looked at myself as being capable of things that you ain't. So I never saw myself as being better than other people, nothing like that. So I too have tried throughout my life to not embarrass people or not try to show people up, you know. But sometimes we end up sabotaging, Mike. Sabotaging. We end up sabotaging ourselves because we're trying to not offend other people, right? And at that point, then it's unbalanced and it's not healthy anymore, right? Can't do anything about how people are going to react to us. So at the point that it starts to sabotage you or have those negative consequences and impact on you, then it's inappropriate and it needs to be addressed. Oh, let's move on. All right, so critical distinction. And I may not get all the way through this presentation because I have an appointment at 12. So I'm probably going to end this presentation a little early. And again, if you want to see the rest of it, then just in the next couple of days, I'll make sure it's available on legithustle.com and you can get this slide presentation and go through the whole thing. But let's look at the distinctions. The fear of failure stops action before it begins. It's conscious and logical. You can see it coming. You can see it happening. And it attacks your confidence and your self-belief. The fear of success, on the other hand, stops continuation after you've began the action. It's usually unconscious and emotional based versus logical. And it hides and operates in the shadows, somewhere where you're not likely to spot it. And it attacks your self-identity and your sense of self-belonging, or being able to fit in to an environment, or even feeling like you belong in that environment. You're worthy to be that, right? If you're an entrepreneur and you want to be successful, would you be okay being a billionaire? And of course, naturally, most people say, heck yeah, I take $1 billion. Really? The fear of success stops a lot of people from ever achieving what they could achieve. Because some of us would say, nah, I wouldn't want that much money. I wouldn't even know what to do with it. Is that person being balanced, or are they afraid of success? I'm not saying they are either one. But it would probably be wise to ask ourselves so that we know what we need to address with ourselves. So while the fear of failure is, I don't know what's up with my tongue today. It must be this herb I've been hitting before I got on live. My tongue ain't cooperating today, man. I don't know what's going on. But the fear of failure is stronger at the surface level, right? It's loud, it's obvious, and it's easy to name. It's easier to identify. But the fear of success is often more powerful beneath the surface. It's deeper. It's like a current. And if you're not aware of it, it'll drag you out there and drown you. And you might never have even been aware of its existence. All right? So how fear relates to failure. The connection between fear and failure isn't just psychological. It's biological, emotional, and deeply wired into our survival instincts. Understanding this connection is essential to breaking free from any of these fears. Biological. Anxiety, tightness in your chest, high blood pressure. Fears can cause all of those things to happen to you physically, biologically. Heart attacks. Fear can kill you biologically, for real. Emotional, fearful, distrustful. Always looking out for something that's going to hurt you. It might not be nothing there to hurt you. But you're afraid of something hurting you, feeling betrayed, being embarrassed. That's emotional. And it's deeply in us because it's part of our survival instinct. But when those instincts become unbalanced, like anything in life, too much oxygen will kill you. Too much water will drown you. Right? So too much apprehension, too much fear, too much stress. All of those things can kill you too. Literally. Right? So these are real things. These are real problems. These are real factors that in life we have to not just consider, but you first got to be aware of them. So I hope I'm doing a good job of helping you know what they look like. So if you ever come across them, you ever experience them in your life, maybe you remember back on this little channel, this dude with like 10 subscribers was talking about some fear one day. He was like, man, I wonder am I afraid of being successful? And at that point, if I can cause you to look at something that way and not fall victim to it, then I was successful in what I did. If it's one person, if it's 3 people, if it's whoever. Because at the moment that you stop and ask yourself that type of question, now you're actually ready to advance. You're ready to move forward. You're doing what it's going to take for you to actually become that successful person, to actually achieve that thing, whatever it is that you're trying to do. So if I can get you to ask yourself these types of questions and do this type of self-analysis, I won at Legit Hustle. That's what legit motivation is about. And like I said, I mix in some of my personal experiences with these topics to make it real, keep it real, you know? So 5 ways fear and failure are connected. And I think I'm going to stop here because I'm getting close to my appointment time. And like I said, legithustle.com, you can get this presentation within the next couple days. Hey man, I appreciate your presence, Aki. Right. Yeah, man, I really, if I pulled out my notes when I was planning on going live and coming up with the topics I was talking about, my number one emphasis was on I wanted what I do to be valuable. I'm not going to do this just to put content on the internet. Now, I want what I do to actually be valuable to people. So I put time into it. I put effort into it. I try to make sure it's authentic. I talk about being original as a hustler on Legit Hustle. So I try to make sure the things that I bring to my channel are original. They're unique in some type way. So if you appreciate it, bro, that's the highest form of gratitude that I can accept for this. So shalom. Peace to you, brethren. Thank you. So number 1, fear is a response to the possibility of failure. It's not the failure itself that we dread. It's what that failure would mean to us as a person. Embarrassment, shame. Fear causes failure through avoidance. It creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. You told yourself you was gonna fail because you were so afraid, man. This ain't, man. What if you don't? And then you created a self-fulfilling prophecy. Where if you tell yourself it's gonna fail, why would you be surprised when it do? You know? You can create a self-fulfilling prophecy out of fears that you might not even be aware of. It feeds through our conditioning. Repeated failure, shame, reinforces in our mind those negative emotions. And we don't want to keep experiencing those. Our psyche is trying to protect us from experiencing those. But what if it's not failures? What if it's just you want to get a degree, but nobody in your family ever went to college? You don't come from a background of successful entrepreneurs like me. I don't come from a place where the people around me did the things that I be trying to do in my life. I don't have very many real world examples in my personal life of people who have achieved the things that I'm trying to achieve. Right? That's part of my, that was part of my conditioning. So we have to be aware of not only our personal successes and our failures, but our backgrounds, the negative things that we get taught and reinforced even as children sometimes. All of these things have built up to a place now where we have been conditioned to expect ourselves to fail. We have been conditioned to fall victim, to end up being a statistic or something through conditioning, right? Fear and failure both shape our resilience. Like I said before, when you face them constructively, they actually become the resistance you need to get stronger. They become the weight you gotta move to get stronger. But because you push 50 pounds, don't mean you can so easily push 75 pounds. But it don't mean you shouldn't get up under that 75. No, get up under that 75 or 60 now and push that until you can push as easy as you did the 50 pounds. And that's how you know you're getting stronger, right? So don't expect these fears, these obstacles to go away. They're your tool, they're your resistance, they're your weight to train with. But only if you know how to recognize them, and only if you know how to address them properly. That makes sense? And the deeper link between them is our identity. And so before I finish, I'm going to go back to the story that I told at the beginning. My fear that if I was rich, if I had a lot of money materially, that I would be somebody that I didn't want to be. I didn't want to be like the people I saw that had these things, right? But it took somebody pointing out to me that was hindering me from being the best agent I could, to being the best financial services professional that I could be. I didn't know it until somebody pointed it out to me, right? My identity would be challenged if I had a lot of money. And I didn't want that, right? But I didn't realize that fear was sabotaging me until somebody showed me. So I hope, if nothing else, although I'm not going to be able to finish this presentation all the way through to the end, if nothing else, I really, 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 really hope that I gave you something to think about. And like I said, the presentations are free on LGH&x. My Cash App link and stuff is on the website. I don't ask for Cash Apps on here. That's not how I present my content. But if you want to donate something to the channel, then you can do that on LegitHustle.com. But whether you do or don't, the presentations are always going to be free for y'all to check out, right? So hopefully you got some from this. Again, I apologize for not being able to finish. I just kind of ran out of time today. And I got to get prepared for an appointment in a few minutes. So with that being said, again, thank you for pulling up. Shout out to my brother Smash for being in the building. I appreciate all your feedback, man. I appreciate your presence. For anybody that may see this that's not in the chat, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your effort. And like the homie Spider-Loke, my tongue is like fucked up today. I need to smoke, man. That's the problem. Anyway, my tongue is tripping. SPI, my bad, dog. As the homie Spider-Loke says over on the black box, Jeter, gratitude is the attitude. So I hope y'all always get that from me. I'm grateful for your presence. I'm grateful for anything that you do in support of Legit Hustle. Know that from the heart. And I hope I never change. If I do, y'all hold me accountable. If you look up one day and I got 1 million subscribers and be like, man, this nigga change, call me out on it, all right? Because I failed. I changed. I let something change me. All right? With that being said, man, we're going to rock out and play a little bit more of my music. I don't know if y'all like my music, but hey, I like recording music. And I do it kind of as my therapy. So with that being said, again, thank y'all, man, for pulling up. I hope you enjoy it. Head to LegitHustle.com to grab the presentation if you'd like. And with that said, Y'all know my motto, man. Hustle smarter, bro. See y'all later, man. I got a question. What does success mean to you? Is it money? Is it fame? Whatever it is, make sure you define success for yourself. When you have a high drive for achievement, sometimes you get misunderstood. If no one else knows who you are and what you about, you gotta know who you are and what you about. Because otherwise, it'll play tricks with your mind, you know what I'm saying?
Am I really wrong for wanting the finer things? Create a new reality, chasing after a dream. Came up with a scheme, the destination was to win. And hop about the rat race.